We need to go out there into the wild and we need to go and hunt down some customers and we need to close them.
Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting customers.
And when we close them, we can bring them back to camp and we can feast on that for the next month, and we'll rinse and repeat at the end of next month. And that's fine, and that's probably where you should be when you first launch a business. But the smarter way to be, and the reason society developed farming at all, is that hunting is really unreliable. Sometimes you go out, you don't find anything. You come back home, you're all starving, hungry, everyone's miserable, the stress starts to build up, the cash pile that you sit on starts to run down, and you start to think more and more defensively, more and more short term, because you're like, I just need the next customer. What are we going to be talking about today? Really, what I want to discuss is this idea of lead generation, using your customers' problems to stop having to go out into the world and hunt down a new customer each and every time, but start attracting customers into your world, have a pipeline of customers that are all at different stages of their buying journey, and you are tending to that pipeline and getting more and more traction as this strategy plays out. I think we would all admit going out and being salesy and having to present ourselves to the world like that and close clients isn't always our most favorite things to be doing. At least what I'm seeing in the mentoring that I'm doing with a lot of the founders we work with, we will pretty much do anything we can to avoid that. So let's try and attract customers to us instead of having to hunt them down. How are we going to do this? 4 things that I want to walk you through. I want to talk about how you start to attract these customers into your lives, the 3 pillars of lead generation. So these are the 3 frameworks that we want to start combining in a cohesive strategy that's going to allow you to start attracting more warm leads into your lives. Hopefully these are easier to close. I want to have a little note around like how you craft this strategy for your business specifically, because there are some considerations here. This is not right for everyone yet. You may be a little too early to start thinking about this yet, but it's good to have an awareness of it. And then finally, I want to talk to you about this idea of if you do this really well, how you're going to be building an invisible moat for your business that's going to make it very, very hard for your competition to outcompete you. It's going to be very, very hard to copy you, and you're going to move into territory where you can really start to own the space, and that's where our prices can rise dramatically. So hopefully that sounds good to everyone in the room today. Let's do it. How do we attract customers into our lives? And what does that look like? So unsurprisingly to you all, we talk a ton in this group about understanding your customers. And the reason I'm so passionate about this is because I've experienced it myself. When you really deeply understand what it is you're doing and who you are doing that for, what problem you are solving, everything just becomes crystal clear in your business. So if you are currently struggling to attract customers into your company, I would say it's probably a fuzzy understanding of exactly what people want, why they want it, and how you can communicate that in such a way that starts to draw their attention into your product and get them interacting and raising their hand for you. I've seen this time and time again in businesses I've worked in and with the people that we're working on the 90-day sprint plan. It's these gaps in our knowledge that make this way more complicated than it needs to be. And if you can get to the point of understanding your customers' pain points, problems, wants, needs, desires, all of this good stuff, you actually don't really need any help on the strategy. You know what to do. You have such high levels of conviction of what you need to build, why you need to build it, and how you need to talk about it, that you just at that point need to put your blinkers on and get this stuff done. So this is going to enable you to do a couple of things. The deeper you understand your customers, the more hidden revenue that already exists within your business you can unlock. So we work extensively with companies who are, absolutely massive, like Octopus Energy, SMEs, and all the way down to new founders, new startups. And even in those biggest businesses, there is gaps in understanding of their customers that when we go out and we do this research, we find revenue streams that we weren't even aware of. There are latent and unmet needs within their customer base that if we just discovered, we could create really simple, really compelling products that resonate with the market and get people to pay us more money. And sometimes I think we really overcomplicate the ways in which we're trying to grow our businesses, right? We're always saying, if I could just have more customers, then I would have more money in the bank and then I could do these great things. Oftentimes, there is more money to be made by serving the current customers you've got in a better manner, understanding their problems more deeply so that you can unlock that hidden revenue. I guarantee you there is money being left on the table because you've got gaps in your understanding. So the deeper understanding will allow you to do that. Here's a concept as well that I want to present to you, which is this idea that your market exists in two segments. There is the aware segment of your market. They are aware that they have a problem. They are aware that there is solutions to that problem, and they are aware of the products and services that solve that problem. That is a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of the total possible market that you exist in. That is an advanced buyer who's gone on a journey, which we're going to dig into today to show you what that looks like. They've gone on a journey of discovery and understanding, and now they're at the moment of buying. And that is it's a small fraction of your market. It's also the fraction of your market that has the fiercest competition. All of the companies are looking at that area of intent. Google calls it the zero moment of truth, where people start to Google which product to buy and do their research and comparisons. Everyone focuses there. And the reason everyone focuses there is because this is the quickest and easiest sales that you'll make in theory, but it is the highest competition, and you're going to have buyers who are the most price conscious at this point because they've done all the research, they know all of the options, they know the pros and cons. Instead, what I'm going to teach you about with this strategy today is focusing on this unaware segment of your market, which is much, much bigger. These are customers who are starting to feel problems and symptoms bubble up in their life where they start to get an annoyance about something. They start to wonder why something's always going wrong, or why is this so difficult? This might be, someone starting to look in the mirror around around the New Year's time and thinking, actually, what would it be like? Like, why do I feel so unhealthy? Why does my back hurt all the time? And going down this educational journey of, I could, go to the gym and exercise, or I could get ergonomic furniture for my office. All of this stuff, it's the symptoms that bubble up. A much larger percentage of your market exists there, and it's much less competed over because this takes an empathetic understanding of where your customers are at currently, what they're going through, and they're not ready to buy yet. So it's not going to be something that you immediately focus on and earn money in the bank like on day one. This is a long-term strategy of bringing people from unaware to aware, and if you do it in the right way, they will be already quite loyal to your brand and your product before they ever get to that purchasing decision. So this deeper understanding will enable you to compete in a much larger market, which has much less competition in it, because it's harder to do because it requires empathy and you not running a selfish business. And it allows you to become this category of one. And like, what do I mean here? So if you focus on that aware segment of your market, let's say we're talking about project management software for your business. If someone's already gone all the way down the funnel of realizing they have a problem with their project management processes in their business, and they've researched all the possible solutions, and they've come up with 5 different competing products that possibly could help them solve their problem, you have a ton of competition in their mind. They are judging you on features and functionality, on price point, on brand and messaging, and their belief in your level of service. It's a really difficult place to be. I've worked in software companies that are in very mature markets, and everything we were doing was putting in proposals, and the company who was buying the software would have lists of, they have this feature, they don't, they cost this much, they cost this much, they have these payment terms, etc., etc. And when you're in that space, your margins get compressed because the market hates you earning profit. The market, economics is designed to make the world as efficient as possible. And so it wants to drive profit out the market. And when you have competition, prices go down. This is why airlines run on razor thin margins of like around 5%, right? But when you become a category of one, when you take someone all the way from the unaware to aware, when you spend 6 months nurturing that lead and attracting them to your brand, you can actually avoid them ever getting to the point where they know about other solutions to their problem. They just know that you solved the problem that you highlighted to them, and you are the company that they need to work with. And when you become that category of one, they're not judging you on price. They're not judging you on features and functionality. They're judging you on their belief that you can solve their problem. And this is where you can start to raise prices, serve less customers in a better way. So this is the opportunity. But for you to do this, all of this requires that you have that solid foundation of understanding of your customers' pains, what gains they want to make in their life, and what their fears and what their worries are, what the blockers to their progress is. If you don't have that solid foundation, this strategy isn't going to work. You're going to struggle to attract customers into your life. You're going to have to remain in that hunter mindset. And we're going to talk a little bit later about being a hunter for customers versus being a farmer. And the strategy I'm talking to you about today is trying to transform you into that farmer rather than the hunter who goes out and it's feast or famine, up and down. Sometimes you've got loads of customers, sometimes you've got absolutely none. So you have to build this solid foundation. And this is why I'm always banging on to you about doing your customer research. It's like eating your greens or going to the gym. This is just things that you need to do in your business because it will build such an incredible competitive advantage for you. It's going to allow you to build more magnetic assets in your business. And the reason I use the word assets because what we're going to be talking about today is lead magnets, it's free tools, it's content, it's all of these things that you're going to be putting out into the market that aren't necessarily great money makers for your business. In fact, some of them might even be lost leaders, but they are things that you put out into the world that allows you to attract these customers. And the more of these assets that you have that are working in conjunction with each other, the more customers you have like ready to go in your pipeline that you're drawing down nearer and nearer to that moment of becoming aware of your product and the fact that it helps them. And we've talked about this before with these trigger points, right? All of your competition are focused around that highest moment of pain and awareness from the customer of the problem. That is where all of that competition exists. That's where they're spending their ad money. That's where their sales teams are focused. High competition, there's low profit margins there. Instead, we're going to start talking about these trigger points which happen 6, 12, 18 months back in that customer's buying journey where no one's really focused because it's not going to result in an immediate sale. And so it gets ignored. Clever companies focus down here. Newer companies that are in this feast and famine cycle, largely are focused at that moment of highest pain and most immediate buying opportunities. So the 3 pillars of lead gen, what am I talking about here? There are a few mental models or frameworks that I want to run you through today that I've been thinking about deeply when it comes to attracting more customers into our lives, into our marketing funnels, into our company's world. These frameworks I think are really effective, and they all build on this solid foundation of your customer understanding, of the knowledge you have of the pain that your customers are going through. And there's 3 different creators of these. Some of them are like Eugene Schwartz, who I'm crediting with creating the framework around the stages of awareness. There may be some arguments about that online. Don't flame me in the comments when we upload this to YouTube. It's just, I learned about this from Eugene. It is considered a general marketing term. We're going to be talking about jobs theory that Clayton M. Christensen is like the godfather of. And if you ever read his book, Competing Against Luck, I would highly, highly recommend it. So this is a way of understanding what your customers want and need. And then we're going to combine all of that up with value prop design, which Alexander Osterwalder here helped co-create. And this is a canvas that we can work through to make sure that all of our content and lead magnets and products are sewing this all together nicely up into a really high value proposition for our customers so that we can get cut through and resonance in the market. So jobs theory, first and foremost, what is jobs theory? It is this idea that customers hire products into their lives. They hire products to do something very specifically, and that is to make progress in their life. So every single one of you has a problem that you help people solve, whether you realize this or not. And your customers may or may not pull your product, your solution into their lives, depending on quite a wide variety of variables, right? The idea is there is progress that your customer wants to make towards a desired outcome. And, Clayton M. Christensen talks about examples of like how fast food milkshakes solve problems, or how the drill helps people hang the family portrait on the wall. We've used these examples quite a few times here. But there are obstacles that are in their way of getting that desired outcome. And so sometimes those obstacles are so great, they never get the desired outcome. But what they're really looking for you to do is help create an efficient, smooth, and easy path for them to be getting their desired outcome. And if you do this, they will hire your product into their life to help them make that progress. And if you understand the progress that your customers want to make, you will come up with a wild amount of ways in which you can help them make the progress. And this is why we say progress, not products. Because most of you will be looking at your competition and looking at products that are exactly the same as what you do. You'll say, oh, I've got like 5 competitors in my market because they all have ABC feature and it's all packaged up in this similar way. I want to say to you that your competition is vastly wider than you are considering when you reframe it as progress, because your customers can make progress in a lot of ways. They could create their own bodged together solutions, they could do nothing, they can have workarounds, they can use products that you're not even considering in like off-label usage to make the progress that they want. And so you really need to understand the job that your product is being hired to do. And if you understand that, this is the key to really exciting innovations within your market. The second framework I want to tell you a little bit about here is stages of awareness. And this is a really nice visual of the process in which your customers are going down when it comes to learning about how to solve a current problem that they've got. Everyone starts at the top of this funnel and moves down. So they are unaware in the first instance that they have a problem. They feel symptoms, they feel frustrations, they feel obstacles to the progress they want to make. But they're unaware that this is a problem, they're unaware of the solutions to that problem, and they're unaware of products that help deliver that solution. Once they encounter that problem or that symptom enough, they start to identify with that symptom as being a problem. And they start to go on this educational journey where they encounter guides or content or conversations with their family, friends, and peer groups in which they identify the symptoms as problems and they become problem aware. They now realize this is something in their life that if they want this problem to go away, they're going to have to solve. And when they make that identification, they start to look for solutions and they try solutions on for size. And a lot of your customers will exist in this space where maybe they try a solution, but it doesn't quite give them what they want. So they cycle between problem aware and solution aware until they find the right kind of solution for them. Once they've identified a solution that they have high conviction in working for them and solving this problem, alleviating this pain, they will look for products that deliver that solution to them. And this is where, again, we go back to that famous research paper by Google, 0 Moments of Truth. This is where people start doing the Google searches where it's like 5 best project management tools 2024. And then they open up 10 tabs and they read the articles and they say, well, here's the top 3 players. Let me open up the price charts. This one's going to cost me £10 a month. This one's £200 a month. What's the difference? And they do all of this research before they ever reach out to you. And most of your competition are competing all the way down there in that product aware segment. If you are going to attract customers into your life as inbound leads, you can create content and lead funnels that are just focused on the product aware segment, but it's really difficult. This is like if you were to price this as Google AdWords campaigns, this would be where the highest cost campaigns would be residing, right? Everyone, it's the obvious solution. If you want to attract them more regularly into your life and you want to embark on this strategy, I want you to focus on creating content that's all the way at the top there in the unaware segment, and you're going to become the owner of that education journey that your customers are going on. And when you do this, you build insane amounts of know, like, and trust factor in the minds of your customers. They'll basically not consider other options because they'll have such high conviction that you are the person, you are the company that they need to work with. And then value prop design. So this is, I called it a canvas. It's a workshop you can run. It's a mental model that you can try on, and it helps you align your products and services with your customers' desires, needs, and challenges. But where I'm sewing this all together is that we can look at value prop design in terms of your content, in terms of the assets that you create, in terms of the lead magnets you create. Daniel Priestley would call these the gifts that you create for your market. And we can tie all of these together with this deep understanding of your customers to create a funnel, a system of assets that you have out there in the world that consistently reveal problems to your potential customers, agitate those problems, show them solutions, and educate them on why your solution is the right one for them. That's where we need to get to. Oh, and I just forgot to show you what a value prop canvas looks like, right? You've got the smiley face on the right-hand side. This is everything going on within your customer's world, the gains they want to make. On the right-hand side, it's the jobs they've got to do. On the bottom, it's the pains they're going through. And on the left-hand side with your product, on the bottom with the little pill, you're looking at clearly communicating to your customers in their eyes that you have the medicine for the pain that they're feeling. You're also trying to communicate in the top right-hand corner of this chart that your product gives them the gains in their life that they want to see. And then you're, on the left-hand side, aligning your product with the jobs that they have to do in their life so that they are confident of pulling in your product to solve that problem for themselves. Hopefully, you are all on board with that, of what we're going to be focusing on. I'm just going to say now, I'm going to drop a link in the chat. If this strategy is interesting to any of you and you want to get very specific on how you do this for your business with your customers, we've got our power hour there. You'll be able to use that to book some time in with me, and we can go through this framework together and really customize it to your customers and how you execute this strategy. So let's consider a few things, because I mentioned at the start, this isn't right for every one of you yet. This is a longer term play. It is something that's going to take you, 6 to 9 months to really get humming, to really get working efficiently. And sometimes if you had a gun to your head and you said to me, Lee, I need to make 10,000 in the next quarter, otherwise we go under, I would say this is not currently the right strategy for you. We need to be in full hunter mindset at that point in time. But if you've got to a place in your business where you have customers coming in the door, you have less cash flow problems, and you can start to think expansively in long term, this becomes an incredible strategy for you to start thinking about trying on, because when this works for you, we will have a conversation in years in the future and you'll say, I wish I started this strategy earlier. I think it's always the mindset that you're going to have with this, because this is going to become a much higher leverage, much more profitable system that you build into your business than going out and doing direct founder-led sales is ever going to be. But sometimes we have to be patient and realize we can't build the fully automated, inbound lead system when we've got immediate cash problems, because it is a long-term game. You're going to be at this for 6 to 9 months, creating the content, the lead magnets, the assets, the tools that you need to really start making this effectively. I would encourage you all to start this journey as soon as possible, but I need you to realize that it is a journey that we are going on, right? Because, and the reason I want you to go on this journey is because of the untapped potential that you currently have in that unaware segment of your market. If you're not producing content that is speaking towards the unaware segment of your market, if you don't have assets and tools and free gifts for your customers or your unaware segment of your market to draw them down that funnel, there is a world of opportunity that you're currently missing. And you are fighting over scraps in the aware section, and it's a really tough place to be. A really, really tough place to be. If you do this right, and I think the sign of you doing this right, and that the strategy is starting to work, is that you're going to be able to create social content, or let's say even like a tool, let's say, like a scorecard or something like that, that connects. I don't know if any of you have ever felt this, because I've certainly done this multiple times, where I get really excited with my team and I say, oh my God, I've had the best idea ever for a post. Let's get this out there. And then you chuck it out there and it's like crickets. No one interacts with it. No one really gets what you were talking about. If that's happening to you, you're building on this shaky foundation. This strategy is starting to work when you can highlight problems to people and they're scrolling through their feed and they're like, oh my God, that's for me. I'm feeling that right now. I'm going through that right now. This person knows what I'm going through. Let me stop and start to interact with this, because I think this person might have some answers to things that I'm feeling, symptoms I'm currently experiencing. So that is the sign that you are on the right path with this, because you'll be able to see that it's starting to connect with your market. There is a really good book that I think is worth picking up if you're interested in this idea of creating content and assets in your business that really resonate with your customers. It's called They Ask, You Answer. And it's this idea of, if you were to just focus on the questions that people are out there asking in their heads to their friends and family, peer group, colleagues, or indeed they are Googling and trying to do research around, this is a great place for you to focus your time, effort, and attention when you are creating content. Because if you answer people's questions, you provide a mini amount of value to them. You are inherently creating content that is SEO, search engine optimized, so that people can discover it because it aligns with what they're asking. And this is how you create these inbound sales inquiries, because you answer their questions, and in answering their questions, if you're doing this in a really clever manner, you reveal the next problem, the next symptom, the next issue that they're going to face. And that's when you can start getting them to say, you've solved this for me, but now I'm really interested in this. Let me jump on a call with you. Let me jump into your workshop. Let me jump into sign up for your wait list or attend your event. It's answering these questions and revealing the next problem they're going to encounter that you start to get them to move down this awareness funnel. So this is a really good book. I would highly recommend it. Okay, so building your moat. This process, the reason I want you to go on this process is two reasons. This is going to build a series of assets and competitive advantages that your competition is going to find very, very difficult to copy from you. Because if you've ever worked in a company that has, like, let's say 5 to 10 direct competitors out there in the market, you know that this weird thing starts to happen where everyone starts to copy everyone else. All of the products start to converge around a similar point in which we're all just saying, right, this is the feature that won that sale, so we need to go and copy that feature. But it's a really bad way to go, because oftentimes when we start copying our competition directly, we look at a landing page that we like and we say, oh, if we just did that, we'd win business. The reason it doesn't work is because we are missing this internal knowledge that company hopefully has built up. And so they have processes, they have sales conversations, they have all of this stuff that's internal and invisible to you from an outside observer that you can't copy. So what you end up doing is copying externally visible assets in an attempt to mirror the success of people who are doing well. And I guarantee you it's going to miss the mark, because you don't have the internal knowledge of the customer's wants, needs, pains, gains, and the progress that they want to make in their life. So this offers you a massive opportunity. If you get closer to your customer and you start building these assets to bring them down the awareness funnel, your competition will start to copy you, or they will attempt to copy you. You'll see direct rip-offs of the lead magnets and funnels that you create, but it's very likely not working anywhere near as well for them, because you have the knowledge of the real pain that the customer's going through, which allows you to create this system of processes, of content, of lead magnets, of communication styles, of your brand. Everything is internal and builds upon that knowledge. And this is why, like, I always bring this idea up of IKEA is an incredible business, right? And you'd think, why is there not like 5 IKEA clones in the world? There's things that are kind of similar, but nothing is like a one-to-one copy of the IKEA model. And I think the reason that is the internal knowledge that IKEA have built up about the problem they solve. You know, the family traveling in their kind of 5-seater car at the weekend to redo their kid's bedroom, and the fact that it's got the cafeteria, it's got whole bedrooms set up within the store that you can see, it's got a design process that considers the fact that these people likely don't have a garage and a wide tool set, so they can't really build furniture, so it has to be simple. The instructions have to work for someone who's building this, usually with like their kids screaming at them or excited. All of this stuff, it all compounds on top of each other into a moat that is entirely impossible to copy unless you take all of that institutional knowledge for yourself, which requires you either hiring the co-founder or the founding team, stealing the top executives, or other kind of corporate espionage type work. It's really difficult to do. So this allows you to move into that blue ocean territory and build internal knowledge that is completely uncopyable by your competition, and they will try and they will fail. It's also going to build a competitive advantage for you, because it's going to turn you from this hunter into a farmer. And so I'm stealing this analogy from Alan Dibb in his book, The One-Page Marketing Plan. Again, really good book, you should all read. And he talks about this. He talks about this idea that most of your competitors are sat there in their little camp, in their company HQ, and they all get hungry and they say, right, we've got some costs coming at the end of this month. We need to go out there into the wild, and we need to go and hunt down some customers, and we need to close them.
Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting customers.
And when we close them, we can bring them back to camp, and we can feast on that for the next month, and we'll rinse and repeat at the end of next month. And that's fine, and that's probably where you should be when you first launch a business. But the smarter way to be, and the reason society developed farming at all, is that hunting is really unreliable. Sometimes you go out, you don't find anything. You come back home, you're all starving, hungry, everyone's miserable, the stress starts to build up, the cash pile that you sit on starts to run down, and you start to think more and more defensively, more and more short term, because you're like, I just need the next customer, I just need the next customer. Instead, society moved away from that and started to become farming-based communities, where we invented agriculture, where we said, well, how about we take some of these resources that we've got and we create these spaces in which we can invest time and effort up front in creating environments for good things to happen, right? And in the analogy of this business world is you're taking the insights and the understanding that you have about your customer, and you're coming back to your company HQ and you plant those insights into this nice field that you've prepared, and you start to grow these assets that you can harvest at regular intervals so that you consistently have a crop of customers falling into your funnel, and you're not ever in this feast and famine cycle. In fact, hopefully you get to the point where your farm is so efficient and so well looked after that you have an overabundance of customers, you have an oversupply of demand for your services, so that your prices can rise and you can say, actually, we're going to service less customers next year because this is stressful dealing with everyone, double the prices, and we'll do it for half the amount of people. So putting all of these together, these frameworks of understanding the job that your customers want you to do, understanding that you have to create content and lead magnets at every stage of that awareness focused around the problems they have and the symptoms they're facing, and educating them on the solutions to their problems, and then sewing that all up in a really clever customer gains map or a value prop design map, where you're looking at the knowledge you've got about your customer and aligning your content and lead magnets around the pains and the gains that they want to make and the jobs they've got to be done, will allow you to create a system of assets that create inbound leads. And this is really the task. And this is why it takes 6, 9, 12 months to turn yourself from this hunter into this farmer, because you can't just create one lead magnet. You can't just create one piece of content or one educational guide, one blog post. It has to be a system. It has to be things that you plant over time and tend to make sure that it's good and it's healthy and it's working. It's going to take iterations to get the communication of that right and working for your customers as well. So I want you to adopt this farmer mindset if you are at the stage in business where you're looking to capitalize on the success of hunting down customers that you've had, and you're starting to think it would be nice if this was more consistent, it would be nice if this was more predictable, and then we can move into this mindset. Okay guys, we'll call it a day there. As I said, I'm going to post that guide to having great customer research calls in the Facebook group. Please, if you have time to look over it, give us some feedback on it. It is the super MVP version of that guide, and hopefully it is helpful to you. If you want to work on this strategy for your business specifically, so how are you going to create content at each stages of those awareness levels of your customer, how you're going to understand the jobs that your customers have got to be done, and fill out this value proposition canvas. The link is in there for the Power Hour. I'd love to work with you guys on that, so that you can start attracting customers into your lives, into your company's funnels, marketing funnels, and stop being so much of a hunter and start becoming a farmer. Awesome. Thank you very much, everyone. I will see you all again next week.